Madeleine Redfern, and I am the Chief Operating Officer for CanArctic Inuit Networks, and I'm based here in Iqaluit, the capital of Nunavut, which is situated on South Baffin Island, not far from Greenland. That's a really big question, especially as it relates to the connectivity issues in rural, remote, and northern Canada. Right now, there's a pretty significant digital divide in so much as the quality or the options that consumers have. So I'm currently served by satellite, and that means that it is very limited in both with respect to how much data can go through. It's slow, which also means that there's can be real issues. Last night I was trying to book an airline ticket on an airline website, and it sends you a code and you have to input that code in 5 minutes, and I'm waiting for my email. I'm waiting for the email, finally get it, have to go back onto that website and try to put it in, and I can see the countdown happening, like 30, 29, 28, and I'm like, take it, just please. So there's so many of those sort of like issues. It's not reliable. It's not stable. Bizarre thing is that our internet connectivity is even affected by the weather. So if it's raining or cloudy or there's a blizzard, the internet can degrade. And it really does sound like, one of those, the dog ate my homework sort of excuses, but it's actually our reality. And it's extremely expensive. So the base package, that people can get here, it's we've got data caps. Most of us burn through our monthly allowance in sometimes, before the end of the month. It can be halfway through the month, the beginning of the month. Almost every household will have effectively what we call like an internet, traffic cop, just trying to limit household members' use of the internet. Even sort of this Zoom call that I'm currently on, is going to eat through quite a chunk of my monthly allowance. And at some point, I'll start getting emails from my service provider almost on a daily basis that, oh, you've gone over, and I start getting $100 notices for overages. So last month, my internet bill was over $1,000. And that's quite normal, for someone who is sending a lot of data, receiving a lot of data, participating on Zoom calls. We're not talking about use of data for things like online gaming or Netflix. So, and then my cable for television is separate. We don't get, the benefits of bundling. The cell phone, which I have here is just another few $100s. So it's a huge cost to any household or any business. It's outrageous what we pay compared to the service that we get. So if you're talking about like, what can be done? Well, what can be done is smarter strategic investments by government. Especially to bring in fiber optic cable into places like Inuit, which were one of 13 Canada's capital cities. And it's incredibly hard to run a territorial government. Federal offices here, municipal offices, Inuit organizations, and businesses were so dependent on internet and connectivity. Everything grounds to a halt. So when Canadians remember the Rogers outages, I think that was just, in the summer. Well, that's kind of our regular reality. We just don't know what time of day or which day of the week we're going to suffer something very similar, where we end up at a grocery store trying to pay for our groceries or gas at the gas pump, and we cannot pay because the internet's gone down, and you can't run to the ATM and get cash because the ATMs are dependent on good connectivity. So there's a huge problem, and I think the billions of dollars that the government has committed to improving connectivity is not a strategy. It's you have to compete for it. there's no real strategy or plan as to, how we're going to unroll and improve connectivity, especially in rural, remote northern Canada. And we've seen in other countries like Australia or even other Arctic nations, Alaska, Greenland, Iceland, the Nordic countries, recognize how important internet and digital infrastructure is and make real investments, but smart investments. They got a plan how to improve connectivity, and they're doing it. And we're falling further and further behind in northern Canada.
I do think that I would have probably gotten into sort of, the issue of connectivity sooner. I do think that we need to see a lot more people getting into this sector. I attended recently a submarine network conference in London, England. And that sector recognizes that it's going to be in trouble because most of the attendees or most people who work in that sector are over the age of 40, majority maybe even over the age of 50. So we need to see a lot more young people, recognize that this is where the future is. It's going to be, a lot more robotics. It's going to be a digital economy. It's everything is, or a lot of things are moving into the digital realm, and we are falling behind and prepping for it. And it's here. A lot more university courses need to be not just the broad, but also the ability to specialize. So that's what I would say is, looking back at where things are at now and where things are going and how to plan and prep for it.